What's up, guys? How we doing? You guys hear me all right? So welcome. This will be a live question and answer session. And I'm not seeing it. You guys see me on there? Live question and answer session. All right, we got it. And I'm not seeing it. All right, cool. What's up, guys? Welcome. This is the first one. So the idea is just to get more communication with you guys. There was some requests for live stream. I thought it'd be exciting, be fun. So this is it. The idea is just to get through your questions as fast as possible. I can go about an hour and a half as long as my brain is working. It's later in the afternoon here. It's kind of late. I've been actually tired today. So anyway, here to get through all of your questions. Thank you guys for being here. And for any viewers that are watching it later, I'll try and keep you guys in my thoughts in the comments as well. Okay, so excellent. We'll go right through. Let's see. So Rob, I think you did pay, right? That was with the super chat. Thank you, Rob. Did you have a question? Did it actually come up? Let's see. I don't see a question, Rob. I see LOL, money, money, money. Okay, I'll look it up when I can find it. Okay, so let's start going through. All right. So from Nell Crawford, do you have any pilot friends? Let's see if we can show that. Do you have any pilot friends who have seen anything, wondering how common it is amongst pilots, or are they likely to stay quiet about it, especially if it's a rotating black cube? LOL. Yeah, a rotating black cube. That is strange, right? If you think about it, what was Ryan Graves seeing? It was basically a black cube. Was it rotating? I remember it just kind of staying there straight, but it's inside of a sphere. It's never come up. I honestly never thought about it until this year when I just saw those videos, and then really just kind of started diving in end of May. So I've really only been in this, really investigating any of the stuff, UAPs, for the last 3.5 months. So it's been a quick spin up. There's a ton of info. So that's why I still don't know a lot of these common names. Yeah, so I haven't heard no pilots have told me anything. I haven't put out like a mass Facebook request or anything. I don't know. I feel kind of like if I'm asking them for information and I'm on a YouTuber, maybe I'm putting them in some weird spot or something. But at least the close friends that I talk to, the close pilot friends I talk to, they haven't told me anything. So they haven't said anything. Sorry, you can't see me. It's a tall question. All right, let's see. I started thinking about the near-term miss incidents in terms of game theory. Do you think they're testing our responses? Why am let's do so. Or pretending to play chicken. Yeah, I don't think if they're testing our responses, then the question is, how much more info do they need? Because they've already been testing our responses. So are they just going to continually test our response? That's why it's just so weird to me. So I don't know how that would make sense in game theory. I guess I'm not like a game theory expert or anything. Let's see. What'd you say, Rob? Yep. If they know their technology is superior to ours. Okay. Thanks for that. Mr. Bajer. Okay, this is from Herman. Thanks, Herman. Thanks for all your support, man. Yeah, it is interesting, right? If it's maybe not necessarily T cells, but if you look at it from that perspective, if we are in a larger environment, right? If we're not so rare, if there's really worlds all around us, then it does sort of make some sort of sense, at least in my brain, that how the organism would continue to grow. Okay, so yeah, crazy thoughts. I have been watching that Inner Outer Worlds with Akasha. I can't remember who actually recommended that, but yeah, crazy stuff. I just got through the first part, but all interesting. Let's see this from Bolt. John Lennon had a great UAP encounter, fully documented with an interview. Really? I did not know that. In New York City at a penthouse apartment he was renting. Interesting. Yeah. Thanks for that, Bolt. I didn't know. Like I said, man, I'm learning so much. It's crazy. So Rob, so here we go. Thanks, Rob. Do you think that it would be worth looking back to Phoenix Lights? Without a doubt. I think those mass sightings, those are the biggest, or most compelling events for me. Phoenix Lights. If you've seen Berkshire, Martin Willis, he did his own a few shows, I think, on the Berkshire UFO event. That was crazy as well. So it's really interesting to me when you get those mass sightings, mass people see these things. So you get so many different viewpoints, perspectives, and then how can all those people be so far off? So yeah, I really like Phoenix Lights. That was one of, you know, when I first started, when my perspective on this started changing, that was one of the ones I went to first, you know, because I lived in Phoenix, so I'd heard a little bit about it, but not much. But nothing in the military, really. I've heard nothing of any talks of people launching for UAPs or anything. So if it has happened, you know, they're quiet about it. They haven't talked, at least no one mentioned anything to me. All right. Can you share, let's see, from Paul. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Can you share what you can with how civilian IFF works when you are looking at a commercial aircraft with your fighter sensors? Really pour some cold water on the bokeh crowd. Is it bokeh or bokeh? I still don't know how to say it. Okay, well, I would say, let me move this down a little bit more. Yes, so IFF is identification friend or foe. And it's basically you have a transponder in your aircraft in order to fly in controlled airspace. So, you know, low to the ground class E, that's kind of like free for all airspace. You can just fly around however you want. But when you get close to an airport, right, a controlled airport, or you get into any sort of airline routes, so you get up a little bit higher altitude, most of the airspace is controlled. So in order to fly in a controlled airspace, you have to have certain requirements. So it's been a while, but basically I believe it's a working transponder and a radio. So they have to be able to contact you, and then they have to be able to confirm that your codes are correct, because they have their radars going, right? So they have the radars and they're getting skin paints. It's called skin paint. So when it hits a plane, it comes back, and now they match that skin paint to your IFF track, your transponder, and that's how it works. So I got to use it. It's called an interrogator in fighters. If you look on F-16s, right on the, or on, at least I know on F-16s, on the nose, you see this little, it's like these little clips sticking up, and that tells me that those must be your detectors for the IFF signal. But that means they have an interrogator, and having an interrogator is amazing. Like flying around civilian traffic, I'd rather have an interrogator and no radar than, you know, just a radar. I think if I had to choose, right, you need a radar to fight, because, you know, if you're fighting against someone, they're not going to have their IFF or at least turned on. So when you're fighting someone, the idea is you paint them with your radar, right, and then you search with the interrogator, and if nothing comes up, okay, then that means they're not a friendly track. So that's how it works. So there's all these very complicated ID matrices. It's called an ID matrix. Is basically, the air-to-air guys know this very well, is what pieces of information can I put together to now make that into a hostile track? Or, you know, if it's hostile, right? You want to correctly identify it. But really, you're trying to cycle everything down to what is a hostile track. And, you know, normally it's lack of friendly and positive enemy identification. So those can be given by different ways. Lack of friendly would be a IFF interrogation, right? So you interrogate, you're expecting a friendly response. So when I do hit the interrogator button, I hit a little switch, and now it sends out a pulse wherever my radar is looking, which is pretty much everywhere in front. And any aircraft in there that get hit by that pulse, their transponders will send back a signal. So that's how it works. It's like a question and receive kind of system. So that's basically how it works. Anything else on that? So I don't know. Does that pour cold waffle on the bokeh effects? I guess you're asking about. Well, I've heard it a few times on Nimitz and other ones. I'm not sure, but anyway, we'll move on. Let's keep going. Have I spoken directly with other pilot witnesses about UAPs, Graves and Fravor? No. You know, back in May when I first started, I wrote Ryan and I asked, you want to be on the show? You know, I think it'd be great to have these questions really centered around the gimbal and the Go Fast video. I said, sure, you know, I'll come on your show. But then that was right before all the craziness happened with the hearings. I guess he was called into something else. I don't know, but he was basically said he couldn't talk openly on the net. So contact me. I think I wrote him again and just no response. So I don't know. Those guys are very busy. If they want to come on my show, I'm happy to have them. I would love to have them on. I haven't written Alex Dietrich. I would love to have her on. If anyone knows UFO Twitter, I haven't written her. And when I went to on Twitter, I go to write her. I just haven't figured out how to send her a direct message. So I would love to have her on. I know she's been super busy, but super happy to talk to her. I love what she's done as well. I haven't mentioned her a lot, but it's really just I tried to write her and just couldn't. So Otherwise, no, I haven't talked with many other pilot witnesses. I'm looking forward to it. You know, it seems like they've given so many interviews that I didn't just want to waste their time. And then, so now, but they've given so much interviews, I have to go back and basically look at everything they've done. And then, so I can ask them new questions. I kind of feel like I'm in that position, but I'm ready. I'll ask now. You know, she was busy with Afghanistan, but I'd love to have Alex Dietrich on there. I'd love to have Fravor. Yeah, anybody, Kevin Day, Gary Voorhees. Yeah, it's really just about time and making it happen. Cool. There you are. I am, Zavine. There we go. Hello. All right. Let's see. Bolt, speed of light is slow for space travel. Would have to be interdimensional if UAPs coming from deep space. Yes, I have heard an interesting thing about the time dilation, though. I didn't realize that. I think it was with Kevin Knuth. I can't remember. But basically, if you're talking about let's say a nearby system, you know, it's like 40 light years away. It would take 40 years, right, at the speed of light. So in that case, it would be slow. So if you left here and went to some nearby system that's 40 light years away, it would take you, 40 years, essentially, at the speed of light for everybody that's on Earth, right? But in the actual spaceship, from my understanding, it would only take like 40 minutes. So you can actually do it. It would work. You would just go there. The problem is, it could be thousands or at least 40 years would have passed back on Earth, and that's for a nearby system, 30 to 40 years. If you assume you go like 1,000 light years away, now it would be 1,000 light years, essentially. So I've kind of heard of that as an argument for maybe this is why we see the same craft throughout history, right? You see like the flying shield back in the Roman days. And then maybe they get like another, it's a boomerang now is what we see. So maybe that's why, because Kevin Knuth, I think he said this on Theories of Everything. But basically maybe they're just travelers coming through, or maybe they come here and then take some samples and then do some tests, tweak something, and then maybe they go back, etc. So I've heard that before. All right. Artisan Tony, I saw you in here, man. Where is you at? There we go. I'll take Phil's first. Sorry. Can I click this? Wrong one. Sorry about that. All right, Philip Robinson. Chris, thanks for all the content you put out. Do you believe the Tic Tac represents the best evidence of non-human tech? If not, which do you believe does? So do I believe the Tic Tac represents the best evidence of non-human tech? If not, which do I believe does? I mean, for me, that was the big one. I guess why? The only reason is because I just related with Fravor so well, because he was a combat pilot, and the way he described it, it just made so much sense to me. So that's why in my brain it is the most or best evidence, and really just because there's so much other evidence. There's multiple people that saw it, 4 people saw it, and then they got it on radar, different types of radar, and then they also got it on the targeting pod as well. So yeah, I would have to say that, but if, I mean, there's so many other examples. It's like, if you can, I guess, which one do you believe is true? And then any of those would be a great example. But the non-human tech, yeah. And for me, that really, and interesting too, if you listen to Kevin Day, his example on it's very interesting because he's talking about those things they're up at 28,000 feet, which is pretty high. Okay. That's like the low part of your commercial airlines where they're flying, but it's only going 100 knots. And so 100 knots is very slow up there. If it had wings, it would be difficult for it to fly. A helicopter, I don't know what's the highest the helicopter's flown, but they can't rescue people, off of the top of Everest. I think probably the highest helicopter's ever flown is up at like 40,000 feet or something. I know the Mars helicopter is pretty amazing. That thing, the tech on that is pretty unbelievable if you've watched that, because they're basically at 60,000 feet. The Martian atmosphere is like 1% of Earth's atmosphere. So that thing is pretty amazing that it can fly up that high. But otherwise, nothing else. I mean, and there's no Mars orbiter up there at 28,000 feet flying 100 knots. I doubt that thing could go 100 knots and then for any sort of length of time. So yeah, I mean, the Tic Tac, it's, from my perspective, it definitely appears non-human. If it is, it could even be like some sort of weird organic life form, not even constructed. You know, if you look at those things, I don't know. You hear about all these crazy craft that have been, it looks like they're grown, you know, it looks like they're grown out of one piece. If you look at the turbine in the F-22, the turbine on the F-22, so the engine, right? The way the jet engine works is the hotter you can get the temperature coming out of the back, right? The cold, you can't really change the air that's coming into the front of the engine, but the hotter you can get the temperature coming out of the back of the engine, whereas the hotter you can get that, then the more thrust you get. And the F-22 has an unbelievable, its turbine is, they grow each turbine blade, from my understanding, okay, I'm not an expert, but I believe they grow each turbine blade like as a single crystal or something crazy like that, which just seemed like, alien tech to me or something. And so I guess it could almost be like these things, you know, it's definitely alien. I'll go with that, but it could actually be some sort of grown system. I don't know. Sounds crazy. All right. Sorry about that. Let's keep going. Where's Artisan Tony? Thanks for putting yourself out there, having smart and experienced guys like you working in the phenomena. It makes me feel better. Dude, thank you. Thank you, Tony, man. I watched your interview with Luis Jimenez last night. Very, very interesting, man. We're going to get you talking about all your stuff one of these days. I hope you feel comfortable, man. It's about time, like we just, you know, we stop having people like you feel uncomfortable telling the truth about their experiences in life. You know, like what's the deal? So thanks, Tony, for all your support, man. Okay, sorry. What's this? If you can warp space itself with gravity, you could speed of light. Yeah, I haven't thought about that. If you can warp space itself with gravity. Yeah, I don't know. Once you start talking about warping space, you know, it's just beyond our comprehension of what's possible, because we don't know what you're warping is really the, you know, we observe space-time, we observe how it's happening, but I still don't think we know what is actually warping, you know, underneath. And that's what the craft I did on my that Pais effect. I was reading through one of the, I believe if you go into further depth on the patent, it talks about this quantum plasma state that is actually, by the vibrations of the craft, it accesses into this quantum plasma state of the universe. So that would be, I guess the idea would be this is some sort of, maybe that's the fabric of space-time or something. So yeah, once you start saying warping gravity, you're basically talking about stuff we don't understand. So it could be, yeah, you could exceed the speed of light. I'm really interested in Kevin Day and how it seems to have affected his home life and nightmares. Yeah, I've heard a few people talk about that. Like you, Artisan Tony, man, you had issues, and I know Kevin Day, or having issues. Kevin Day has mentioned that as well. He's the biological marker, or you get you're like activated as an antenna or something. You know, I was thinking about this today, actually. If you look at magnets, right? So my last video was on the magnetic monopole, and you know what this means, or what could possibly mean, you know. And if you just split up the magnets, right, or if you take any magnet, you know, north south, and you cut it in half, you get two new magnets. Okay, so that's just a weird property we don't fully understand. Even if you go down all the way to, like, I guess, to the atom, I guess you split it and you get two new magnets. But what's interesting to me is that again, I'm not a huge expert on magnetism, but you can take a normal block of metal, right? So whatever it is, it's non-magnetic, and then you can create it. You can make it magnetic, right? So you can do electromagnets. You know, you can put electricity around a magnet. Well, that would just make it stronger. But you take a normal piece of metal, right, which I believe can be done. I'm kind of freewheeling here, but then you organize all of the metal inside of it, right? So you're basically organizing it in one direction, and that's what actually creates the field, right? Organizes the field. So before that interaction, whatever happened to that piece of metal, right? It wasn't magnetic, so it was not able to interact with these fields. But then when it comes in contact to whatever it came in contact with, it aligned the metal, whatever particles in there, the actual atoms, aligned it, and now that thing can access or interact with magnetic fields. I don't know if this it's just something thought to me is maybe that's some sort of effect, is that you know, before you come in contact with whatever this is, whatever is not aligned, or there's some change, like you've talked about, Tony, I've seen previously. Maybe there is some effect that aligns, and now you can, unfortunately, maybe forever after interact with these fields or something like that. I don't know. Crazy thought. I'm just kind of freewheeling there. Let's see what we got. We don't need to exceed the speed of light for interstellar. Okay, that's it. Thanks, MeBeep1. We don't need to exceed the speed of light for interstellar travel due to time dilation. I talked about that, but I believe you just won't be able to go home. Or if you go back, it'll be quite different. But for you, I think it's the same time. So we could go, you know, if this is true, right now you could be like, all right, I'm going to go visit, I don't know, Planet X. Okay, let's see what we got here. Do you have any thoughts on simulation theory and how the UFOs might be the ones who run the sim? Yeah, interesting, right? You know, I'm a big Musk fan. You know, I've read most of his books on his list, etc. So he's a big proponent of simulation theory. His argument is that, you know, the chances are extremely low that we're in like the base reality. So chances are there's some sort of simulation rolled on top of another. I guess the way I've thought about it is, yeah, I guess it could be true, but more maybe the simulation is just more organic than we're considering. You know, we always consider a simulation as being a computer oriented, but if this is actually a simulation, it's just going to be more organic. So yeah, I guess, I don't know. You get in a kind of an infinite loop when I start thinking about simulation theory. Awesome. All right, Carl, I like your thoughts on magnetics. The plus and minus are one-sided, and the counter space is the zero energy. These entities may exist in counter space reality, are shadows. That is interesting, right? And I kind of get those thoughts. There's some dogs getting killed outside. I kind of get those thoughts, right? I was watching that interview with Artisan Tony and Luis Jimenez, and Luis was talking about that. Is, you know, if you think about it, 200 years ago, if we said, oh, hey, infrared, you know, we'd have no idea. Or night vision goggles, you know, imagine that. It'd be like looking into another world for these people. So like Luis said, is maybe there's all these other things going on. We just don't have the tools or the sensors to even note that they're happening. So definitely could be true. Your dark matter is life. It is great. Thanks, Ike. Thank you very much, man. It is tough putting out personal stuff. You know, it's tough publishing personal stuff. What's up, Bass? Yo. Thanks for being here. Would you do an interview with F-16 pilot Yves Meelbergs from the Belgian Air Force about his chase of the UFO in 1990? Yeah, that would be awesome, man. I would love to do that. I'll write that down. Yves Meelbergs. Yeah, does he do interviews? Cool. All right. Thank you, Call On Beings. Loved your crazy ass theory. What are your thoughts on this theory as it relates to consciousness? Does this lend to the idea that consciousness aggregates upward? Yeah, I hadn't really thought of you know, I guess my thoughts on consciousness. I've watched several TED Talks on it, and my own guess is that we just think we're more important than we are, right? We just think consciousness is something something unique or rare, when really maybe that dog looking at you is thinking the exact same thoughts, you know, just in dog words or something. But I didn't think much about it because I know that Neuralink is coming, and so I think that once we actually know anything more about the brain, then it will just explode this industry. You know, we honestly don't know anything about the brain. You know, it's all just, we like poke it from the outside and see what happens. You know, we cut stuff out of it and we see what happens. So it's like you're working on your computer from the outside, but we haven't really gotten into the software at all. You know, I guess I think of psychology as like using Windows. You know, psychology is like using Windows, and then if you're just looking at the brain, it'd be like looking at your computer and trying to like fix it, you know, or cut stuff out of it and have it keep working. So the actual like software behind how the programs work, I think we really don't have any concrete evidence on how that works. I would argue that. So Neuralink is going to make a huge breakthrough as soon as they are actually starting to get feedback information from individual or at least sections of neurons. I think you're in a huge be a huge benefit. So that would be me for consciousness. But that akasha, that inner worlds, outer worlds, very interesting, right? So maybe what was it saying? Like consciousness is really we're just all like we're all the same, but we're just seeing ourselves through different eyes. So that's like life is like consciousness looking at itself or something like that. That seemed like a very powerful thought to me. So awesome. All right, thanks for the question. Hey, mate, love your work. Have you heard of the Bill Uhouse testimony before? If so, what do you think of it? Thank you for the money, man. I'm sorry. I haven't heard of it. Sorry, Adam. Yeah, just so new, man. There's just so many things to learn about, but I'll write it down. Bill Uhouse. Okay, cool. Testimony, thanks. I missed one up here. Let's see. They might see Earth as a gas station and just come to nick our deuterium from the oceans for their fusion reactors. I think you're probably more right than you would be. Well, I think you're closer to the truth now. I was thinking about this the other day, and I have friends here. One's a guru, awesome guy. He's trying to start a YouTube channel, different thing. Hopefully he does. He's talking about water. So this is interesting to me, especially after I did this last video on magnetism. Is, we always talk about where the carbon life form, and if we meet somebody else, it'll be like silicone or something. But I was thinking, what if we're the water life form? If you look at our planet, it's mostly water, and water is a polar molecule, meaning it's magnetized. So, it has, it's shaped like Mickey Mouse. So it's got your oxygen, and then it's got your two, I could probably find a better video here, but basically it looks like we call it the Mickey Mouse molecule because it's got an oxygen molecule and then two hydrogen molecules attached, but that makes it polar. Okay, so it's magnetic, and this is why water is very good for cleaning things. Okay, it will attach. That's why you get that meniscus, a water meniscus. Okay, because it will surface tension, but also because it's just a polar molecule. It's magnetic. So maybe that plays some sort of factor. Maybe that provides, again, total speculation here, free-willing speculation, but what if it provided some sort of grounding for like a jump point or some sort of benefit, maybe to off-gas something or to resource it. You've seen some of these videos. I don't know if that one was ever debunked, but it had that UAP. I think it was in Chile or something. It was releasing something. So I don't know. I was thinking about that. Maybe it is something to do with our water planet. And I think we could learn more about this as we start looking into other solar systems around us. If the layout is kind of similar, maybe the layouts of solar systems kind of follows a certain pattern, like atoms have certain patterns, and that the water molecule in there or whatever does something for the whole system. So kind of just deep thoughts I had as well. All right, let's see. Moving on. Do you believe in materialism, physicalism? Do you believe in dualism? Hi, Mike. I can't actually identify those. I can't define them. I don't know. Yeah, sorry. You're describing idealism in a way. Okay, got it. Maybe I believe in idealism. I think that's what I believe in. So many theories, so little time. Yeah, you're right. OG Skywatch. The AI could be a living metal. This is kind of what I was thinking as well, because we just have no idea. We can only assume that our evolution would mirror other places, but that doesn't make any sense. Why couldn't you have other life forms? Maybe this is what they look like. Maybe a Tic Tac is a Tic Tac. Maybe it's like a weird interstellar being. I don't know. Let's see. Keep going. In your career as a pilot, have you ever encountered any UAPs yourself? None. Zero. Yeah, I wish. I never thought about it. I never looked for them. Nothing. It's funny, right? They're probably flying right behind me. I'm always joking that they're probably just flying right behind me, and I'm like reading checklists or doing something stupid as well. Zavin, what's up? Clifford Pickover's The Science of Aliens, as I recall, gave an argument against silicone-based life forms due to the reduction in tidal motion by whatever fluid substitute would be in those oceans. Let's see. Huh, interesting. Okay, so it's saying that the reduction in tidal motion, I guess because silicone would affect that, because the fluid substitute is different. And okay, so you have silicone oceans. Huh, that makes sense. But you're assuming that they evolve in silicone oceans. You know, maybe it's in like a gas planet. You know, I've always wondered, like, if you imagine just how big Jupiter is, we have no idea what's under there. Really, we don't. I think we have a basic idea. They sent in, I think they got radar penetrating through there, but even then, we have no idea what's going on under there or in Saturn, Venus. You know, we think we know so much, and I really don't think we know that much. Is it possible, from Jim Mitchell, to put a FLIR radar and Imax camera on a private airframe and hunt for UAP in the areas where Ryan Graves saw UAP off Virginia? Build me a UAP Hunter Chris. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I guess it is. You know, those are whiskey areas. It's you can fly there legally. You probably don't even need to fly in them. You just fly, you know, around them, or they probably do to go down to the surface. Yeah, there's nothing stopping you legally. It's probably not the smartest thing you could ever do, is to fly in that airspace. It would also be a pain in the ass for those people. But yeah, you could go there. I would think the better way would just much cheaper, is put it on a ship. So that's what kind of been kicking around the idea. Trying to aim for, just go for the satellite because it's the funnest and coolest. But there is an option to plan for terrestrial systems, and putting on a ship. You know, maybe there's like a local company. I watched Forrest Gump last night. Maybe it's like Gump Shrimp. You know, pay them to put this system on there. You know, do what the Chinese do. Just sit their fishing boats out there. You know, to analyze these things. So I think that would be the better way to do it. But yeah, I'm going to put a satellite up. You can buy one of those NFTs when I sell it. Okay. Hopefully they sell. Have I ever been to Finland, Koos? I have. Where did that go? Oh, sorry. Yes, Koos, I have been to Finland. It was awesome. Had an amazing trip up there in September, of all places, kind of randomly. Great trip. Beautiful, beautiful country. Loved it. Back to my homeland. Everybody spoke to me in Finnish, and I can't speak anything in Finnish, so no worries. Let's see what we got. What kind of impact would you like to have on the UFO community, being that you're a rare breed? Yeah, thanks. Earth versus Uranus. Are we going to fight Uranus? Or Uranus? What's inside Uranus, man? Maybe there is some crazy silicone life form flying around up in the gases. Yeah, as positive as I can. I didn't expect to have any impact on the UFO community. So I guess any positive effect is the best. I hope I don't screw it away. You know, I hope I don't screw it away for you guys. So positive. You know, I can't please everybody, and I can barely please myself. So I'm just doing the best I can. And, you know, it's just every week putting out max content, and sometimes the editing sucks and sometimes it's rough. But that's just the best I can do. So yeah, I want to find out. And yeah, I guess that's my motivation. So I hope it's positive. That's the biggest thing. No tides, no movement from life forms from oceans to land. That's interesting, right? Do we need that to turn? Probably. Do you need a planet that turns? You know, could you have a planet that's not spinning? You just have sun on one side, night on the other. That would be a totally different life than what we're used to, I think. But again, we just have no idea what we're going to see out there. About your Finnish background, let's see. My grandparents moved to Fitchburg when they were young. My granddad was born in America, in Fitchburg. His parents moved there. And then my grandmother was born like on the ship over. And they lived in Fitchburg. And then that's pretty much it. My dad grew up there. I'm 50% Finnish. Seems like a sweet country. Good question. Let's see what we got here. Thanks, Bass. Have you ever been to Finland? Already answered that. Sorry. Are you dying to see Top Gun 2? No. I'm a rare breed, like you said, man. I'm one of the few guys, like, I like flying. I enjoy it, but I'm not, you know, I didn't watch Top Gun that much when it came out. I watched Star Wars, man. I watched Star Wars. Return of the Jedi. I watched Return of the Jedi every day from when I was like 4.5 till I was 7, I think. Yeah, and that's why I was like, man, I'm gonna be a fighter pilot, you know, Return of the Jedi. And then I joined the military, and I kind of realized I was kind of joining the American Empire. But no, I think there's no, basically the analogies mostly stop there. Because I told I love you. All right, Lavish, good. Let's see. Do you think disclosure is breaking through due to our technological advancements like the Spy 1 radar? I think so, OG Skywash. I think that's it, man. I think also what you're seeing is YouTube. You're seeing rise of 2.0. I kind of mentioned this before is, you know, the original web, like web 1.0 was really you just get information from there. You know, you go to a web page and now you get information. So web 2.0, that's what we're talking right now. So I'm direct talking to you, you know, it's kind of this awkward, you have to write a question and then I talk into this camera by myself. So kind of awkward, but I think this is web 2.0. So web 2.0, it links us directly. And I think that's what's pushing us through, or that's part of this technological advancement is now, you know, the information. So, you know, someone sees UAP and now if you think about it in the past, it would have to be like reported and then it gets like written down and then it goes to an office and then they destroy it or whatever they do with it. Or this has also happened. Okay. So, small little digression here, but if you have a security clearance, okay, they have to do this, at least in the US, I think it costs $50,000 each time. And they do this extensive pain in the ass review of your whole life. Everything you've done wrong. They go and talk to your neighbors, like even neighbors you don't like or don't like you. That's probably why they go and talk to them. They talk to your old friends that you've had fallings out with even. You know, I have an old friend, I think he just stopped giving me his number because they would go and like knock on his door and call him and be like, I know we've asked you this over the last 15 years, but we have to ask you again. So anyway, long story short, they get all this information, all of our personal information, all of our social security numbers, everyone I know, my whole family, social security numbers, all the information. They secured it. They put it all together in this one box. And then the Chinese stole all of that information, all of it. They took all American classified personal information. They know everything about me, everything. They know my mom's social, like everything. And so my whole point of that story is first, I'm super pissed about that. Second is now that's the problem, right? So in the past, all of this information gets put into one location. And when you have all of your information in one location, it's very easy to just get rid of that, right? So that's where you could have foreign elements. Like let's say that if the aliens are here, they must know that we're looking for them, right? They must have some idea. I'd be totally surprised if they had absolutely no clue. So if they had that technology, how hard would it be for them? If you can go through walls, like just teleport there, break the hard drive, you know, teleport out, or teleport in there, leave a listening device. Or they don't even need a listening device. I mean, yeah. So you have that level of technology. If we put all of our information into one spot, we're screwed, right? You're going to lose it. But now with YouTube, now I think we can make it much harder for them if they are in fact removing information or making it harder to find. Now it's immediate, right? It's YouTube direct uplink. So how are they going to know what's happening? So it's much more work. I think it's much harder. But again, if they have the technology to go through walls and all that stuff, I guess it wouldn't be that hard just to go to the YouTube server now and just break that hard drive and then move on. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. But I do think, yeah, advancements are helping. Spy 1 radar for sure. That ASA radar, that's huge. FLIR technology, right? Because we're seeing them with FLIR. I think all that stuff is punching through. All right. What's your thoughts on BATTELLE controlling all of the national labs? I'm sorry, Jay Ramirez. I don't know what BATTELLE is. Does anyone know what that is? Okay, I'm sorry. I have to move on. I'll write it down. I think, yeah, anyone controlling all of our national labs is probably a bad thing. Okay, what's up? Hey, Andy, how's it going, man? I got a question for you. During your time as a pilot, do you believe that any of these objects we've been seeing are man-made? I have no idea. I mean, they easily could be, right? If Bob Lazar's story is true and all these other stories are true, then we have been back engineering this. And so you would see these flying around. The question is, that doesn't make sense for all the abductee. You know, why do we have thousands and thousands of relatively consistent abductee accounts all throughout? So yeah, I think it's definitely possible, Andy. Thanks for being here, man. What do you think about Bob Lazar? Fravor seems to trust him a lot. Initially I watched it and I was just blown away, and the way he explained all the physics and the math and everything just seemed very legitimate to me. Again, I'm new, so I was surprised actually to see that in the UFO community, it seemed like a lot of people didn't really believe him or didn't trust his story based on his background or how he actually talks about it. People I look up to, respect. Kevin Knuth, he said he just doesn't feel like he's missing the key amount of detail that we need to actually reproduce these things or to prove that it's true or to test it. So I don't know. I would like it to be true, but these last 3 patents, that Pais patents, that really, when I look through it, it just looks like a reverse engineered Bob Lazar craft to me, because it seems like the one thing that they don't have is the 115, the 115 reactor. And so I think that's what this high frequency gravity wave generator that's supposed to do, is actually take the place of that 115 reactor. But we can't make 115. We have no idea how that technology even works. So I believe that high frequency gravity wave generator that's in Pais's patent, I think it's the 3rd one. I think that's like a poor man's way to try and get to this 0 point inertia. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Fravor, what's his deal? He's like kind of off on his own. I would very much like to talk to him. Like I'd like to talk to any of those guys. So yeah, interesting. On my earlier question, I don't know. It didn't come up here, Mike. What happened? Are you OG? Are you girl? Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Do you believe there's anything more than the material world? Are there things outside of material existence, such as a realm of thoughts? That is a deep question, Mike. I will say up until this year, I believe fully that when you die, like nothing happens. Like this is it. I've had glimpses, when I got married, I kind of felt like there was something magical. And then after a while, it went away. No, it's still magical. You got to work at it sometimes. But no, until this year, man, I didn't think of it at all. I was like, no, you just die. You're worm food. And now I'm like, well, you die and you're worm food, but there's probably something after, or maybe something after. It really opened my mind. I'm just so happy. I hope maybe other atheists or people in the same realm get the same impression. Let's see. Okay, back from Andy. Given your time as a pilot, do you honestly believe any of these UAP being seen are secret man-made craft? Okay, so I get it. Okay, so do I think they're secret? They could be. I don't know. If they are, I mean, it's kind of messed up, right? It means you have a secret group of people out there flying around, and then what are they doing with them? If you do have this technology, so what I think is even more useful, right? So yeah, warp drive would be amazing if we could spin this thing at zero inertia and then fly something warp drive. That's amazing, but that's just one example of the technology. If you can do that, I think you can access kind of limitless energy. If you're able to make something weigh nothing, your energy requirements effectively go to almost zero. And then I feel like if you can access this quantum plasma state, which sounds like there's also kind of like limitless energy, effectively we wouldn't need fusion reactors if we could do this. If we could do 0 point energy, and you could spin something at you could spin it at whatever 30,000 RPMs. and then turn off the 0-point energy. Now you have this thing spinning at 30,000 RPMs, you know, you can do things like that. So now you have a, you know, get something that weighs like 50 tons, spin it at 30,000 RPMs, hook up, you know, a treadmill. And now all of a sudden you have, you know, limitless energy essentially. So there's many other effects or many other uses of this technology that would really change the game. So yeah, pretty amazing. So yeah, I think it could be secret, and if they have it out there, they need to share it because that's messed up. Live past with Tom Cruise. Has he seen a UAP? I'll have him on if he's seen a UAP. What is one thing that depresses you about the UFO phenomenon? Depresses you. I guess like just the length of time. I mean, that's. I assume that the truth would come out. You know, I guess I'm on. That's why I don't argue so much about politics and like climate change and all these. You know, you can have it. You can go for a healthcare system, you know, that is private. But at the end of the day, it does matter what choices you make, right? So it does matter. You know, if you don't think, despite all the evidence of the last 50 years, that increasing CO2 levels do increase temperatures and cause all these other effects, despite all the evidence, if you make choices against that, right, I can argue with you all you want. But if you still make those choices, if I'm correct, right, if it's true, then you will get your ass kicked, right? Sooner or later, like it will come back. And that's what's, I guess that's what I'm missing from the UFO is that it's been 70 years and it hasn't happened, right? If you look at even climate change came around, you know, I had to listen to all these people my whole life saying that, you know, it wasn't a thing. I had to argue with, because I had a scientific background, right? So I would be in these fighter squadrons. The military is mostly conservative. So most people didn't think climate change was real, right? It was fake, or the scientists were making it up. So I would research it, and I remember getting in arguments with people. So, but even then, right after 50 years, it became. I think it's pretty undeniable now, right? You can, as your cities are flooding and your states are burning, right? But with UFOs, that's not necessarily the case. You know, it's been maybe thousands of years and it hasn't come out, or the cat's put back in the bag. So I guess that would be what depresses me most, is that there may be a chance that we just won't find out, or they'll deny our knowledge of it somehow. So I guess that depresses me the most. What was the scariest moment you had when you flew in the military? Never Strays 34. That's a good question. I don't know. Nothing really comes to mind. I had no near-death experiences like where I just realized I would have died immediately. You know, and that's kind of rare, actually. Maybe I'm just more conservative, or just luckier when I was flying. But I just never had any kind of like, I'm going to die situations, or maybe it just happens so often that I just don't consider it more than the other. Yeah, I'm also scared of heights, right? So flying is just it's kind of a scary proposition anyway, right? And then getting shot at and everything. So I guess I just got used to a general level of terrifyingness, and nothing comes to mind. Sorry. Well, would be great if you could interview some of the aerial school kids, Salma Siddiq. And is that the one in Zimbabwe? Is that what it is? Cool. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out there's so many ways to go with the channel. And so it's nice just having this live stream and interacting with you guys to see, I don't know, what are your ideas? I don't know. Let's see. Earth versus Venus. Top Gun 2. You guys excited about it? I mean, how long has it been coming out, man? It's been coming out for like 8 years. Like, go make the movie. Like, I mean, edit it. Did they film it? Like, what's going on? Like, I mean, come on, man. Or Last Starfighter, man. Last Starfighter, that's the money. I'm basically, I think I just live my life to be ready in case they need me to go do Last Starfighter or Ender Game, right? Ender Game or Last Starfighter. Maybe that's what they need us for. My family loves your UAP content. You bring a ton of credibility, clarity to this space. Thank you, G Wills, man. That's awesome. Yeah, it's humbling, man, to hear that. Thank you. What sort of information would you want to see in a civilian UAP reporting database? Yeah, I was just watching Ted Rowe on the UCR. So with Luis Jimenez, I've been wanting to make that video next, but then just stuff comes up as well. His conference, the AIAA conference brief, was just amazing. So I would love to talk to Ted Rowe and really knock down what sort of information we should have in a reporting database. I'm sure he knows. I'm sure he knows exactly what to say here. Yeah, so I'll ask him. Yeah, what's up? All right, let's see. From Ed Manship, thank you, brother. Your YouTube channel has become required viewing. I appreciate it, guys. Let's see what else. Okay, what do we have? Where is the video recorded by those two jets that nearly collided with a 30-foot cube off Virginia? Surely those jets record continuous video. No. This is a good question, actually, from Tim. Just like it's harder to film something out in the environment, you know, if you actually tried to go and film a bird with your iPhone, it's going to be very difficult, right? Kind of the same thing here. So you can't record everything. I'm assuming you're talking about, that was when Ryan Graves, he mentioned the first sighting, visual sighting. One of the pilots came down into the ready room. He was still wearing his gear, and he gave a basically observation report. Hey, what this thing is. That's when he saw the gray or dark box, a box with the sphere around it. I still have heard no kind of physics stuff. You know, I've heard this physics example for the plasma, but I haven't heard about how that would work, or the Tic Tac, right? That's not is that a plasma or something? But there's only certain things you can record, right? You know, so we could record, you can record the HUD, and you can record your two screens, at least in the Viper. And when they get more screens, I bet you can record those digitally. So something flying right between you, actually, it wouldn't be recorded unless it happened to be in the HUD. But the HUD's kind of just like right here, you know. So if it was flying by over here, you wouldn't see it. You can record on your helmet, right? So that's where you have to flip this other switch. At least in the Viper, I have to lean down, find the switch I never flip, and then flip it, and then you can record with your helmet-mounted display. But it's like a little crappy camera, and it's real jittery. So it's kind of just used for weapons, you know, queuing weapons and making sure they were on target, etc. But yeah, you would hear the pilot. You would hear what he's saying into the tape. I guess that would be, but no. Okay, modern client science is ignoring almost all the energy we get from the sun and looks only at irradiance. Okay, we should take that energy from the sun and use that instead of burning stuff from under the ground. I think that would solve it. Baby, I love you. Okay. From Manuel on the caves and that. Okay, I think you guys are chatting. Let's see what we got. Okay, Artisan Tony, man, in the comments. Top Gun without a Tomcat is a crime. Yeah, Tomcat that's a sweet plane, man. F4, sweet plane. It's like the F-15 as well. You know, my buddy flew the F-15. I never got to actually fly in one. He was in the C model is the dogfighting one, you know, the air-to-air version. And it's just this big giant plane. You know, we have the Viper. It's small. It's like a motorcycle. But the Tomcat, just a beast. You know, the F4, like just this giant beast of a plane, and the F-15, a beast of a plane, but it can maneuver, right? So that would be sweet to do like a 3K. That's our close-in dogfighting. 3,000 feet is half a mile. Very close. It feels close in a Viper. I can't imagine they do it in an F-15, man. That would be so awesome. Have you heard any rumors about the contents of the classified material that we haven't seen yet? No, I haven't. You know, when I did my Omaha deep dive and such, around that video, I was just chatting a little bit with Jeremy Corbell, etc. I haven't heard any rumors. You know, the Eternals movie has the TR-3B. The Moab, mother of all bombs. Yeah, that thing's ridiculous. What is this? Wow, thank you, Seth Looks. See if I can see. I sub because you analyze military video with your military knowledge. I worry as you go deeper, you get involved with the crackpot element of UFO stuff and hurt your credibility. Please keep some skepticism. All right. Thanks, Seth Lux. Yeah, I agree, man. Because it's hard, right? Because everybody says that. They'll say, watch out for the woohoo stuff, you know? But where's the line? Where's the line for the woohoo stuff? You know? Because like I talk to people like, you know, like Artisan Tony, he's had real effects from these things, real physical effects, or you talk to other people who've had real physical effects, you know? So there's like this underlying current of people that have been impacted. I was on Twitter, you know, I kind of stumbled into this meeting room. It was cool actually on Twitter last week with this guy, Chris. And he said he basically has, you know, light orbs, you know, one time followed his daughter into her bedroom and he physically couldn't move, right? And their wife saw it, you know, so do you just not believe those three people, you know, this event didn't happen or just ignore it? Or just don't talk about it. So that's where it's like hard. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard to get dragged in. Or sorry, it's easy to get dragged in. But where's the line, I guess? So I'm trying to figure that out. So yeah, thanks for the super chat, man. I agree. If you can tell me where the line is, I'll probably cross it. What do you think about the UFO and the Madonna with Saint Giovannino painting from the 15th century? I think that is the, is that circle, the ball of light circle? Is this the woohoo? Is that woohoo stuff? I don't know. I think if you look at those, it provides, I would say, what do they call that? Circumstantial evidence for aliens in the past. I guess that would, if it's true, that would increase the body of evidence. And if for some reason that wasn't happening, then it, I guess it wouldn't increase. Yeah, it seems like there's so many examples of it. If you look all around, you know, if you look at humanity all around the world, I think everybody had some sort of sky god or some deep spiritual thing. I don't know of any human tribes out there that didn't have some sort of spiritual, you know, spiritual religion and related to a lot of times sky gods. So it seems reasonable again, but then you get into woohoo stuff. So it's hard to talk about, I guess. I've heard rumors about what is on the classified for really from a certain well-known YouTuber. What is it, Darren? Can you put it in the chat? Everything becomes a cult. So true, man. So true. That's what we do, right? That's what humans do, man. We organize, we go into groups, we form movements, you know, we convince other people we need to work on something as a team. This is what we do. And yeah, you can call that a cult. FLIR data is pretty woohoo. The FLIR data. Yeah, I guess. Okay, UFO should be studied scientifically like anything else. I know, man. It's crazy, right? Why haven't they? I don't know. It seems crazy. From Matt T, talking about the woohoo. I think there's eventually going to be a reconning and a meshing of the woo and hard science. I think it will be needed to really get a full understanding. Yeah, I completely agree, Matt. It has to, right? Because there's, like I said, it's such a slippery slope. Where's the line? Yeah, I talked to, you know, I've mentioned it on a few of my other videos, but I've talked to now 3 people here, my friends who have seen UFOs. You know, I have my good buddy here. He saw, he was in the UK. He saw a saucer land, and he ran away. And he was in the jungles of Costa Rica, of all places, and he's been in a room where he saw a portal, right? It was basically a swirling white portal thing, and he could see into another place. And he used his phone. He said he took out his phone and tried to take a picture of it, but it would not film. And I trust this guy. You know, I trust him. So where's the line, I guess? But it will need to be crossed if, you know, the human experience is part of it, I think. All right, what do we have here? The consciousness aspect has really captured my attention lately, but it's impossible to walk down that path without navigating the yes, exactly. I think that's what I just said. It's hard to talk about, but I think if you look at just the amount of evidence, you know, it does seem to provide a compelling argument that there's some relation there. There's some sort of relation. If you're analyzing video, then we all have the same reference. Someone's anecdotal story has nothing to back it up. Not calling them liars, but I wouldn't believe it out of hand. Yes, but what if you have 40 people, Seth? You know, look at Phoenix Lights. What if you have, you know, 1,000 people that saw these things, including the governor? I agree. It gives you a subjective account, you know, maybe not an objective scientific account, but, you know, we can use science. I brought that up, you know, many times before about the statistical analysis. So, you know, we do have social sciences. You do have all the social sciences, actually. So there are ways to use human experience, human witnesses into science. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. You know, analyzing a video, we can both look at it. I can point things out. That's harder evidence, which is why I've been trying to push for getting our own better evidence, which I really think we can do. I'll just keep mentioning until it happens. But you know, the day some group of people gets like 20 or 30 videos of the same UFO event, man, is the day this thing's just gonna bust even further wide open. Okay, where are we at? Let's see. Would it be possible for the Air Force to have high technology for decades that would not be seen in the civilian world at all? I mean, it seems crazy. It seems unbelievable, but yeah, I mean, like I said, if you have all of that information, you know, if it's scoped down, if you have it so compartmentalized that nobody really even knows about it anyway, and then you have a certain group of people on the earth, or anyone who has the technology, or anything that has the technology, can affect that information, right? Can remove it. So I guess it's possible. It's Mick. Yeah, I think he just got tired. I was fatigued as well, man. I think he just got tired, which is awesome. That's fine. He can talk about something else. Portals, just like at Skinwalker, all the crazy magnetic stuff there really makes me think there's a magnetic shadow realm where time flows differently. That's interesting. I don't know. Like that's on my list, man, of things to do. Like it's so hard to put out content and at the same time consume it. So yeah, I've just been having a hard time finding the time to do both. So yeah, Skinwalker Ranch. You know, I kind of wanted to go there till I saw Gary Voorhees. He called into the Unidentified Celebrity Review, and he said, you know, if you want to go to Skinwalker, don't go to Skinwalker. And so I kind of believe him. But yeah, my buddy, that's what he said. He said it was like this white kind of misting thing, and he could literally see into another place. He tried to take pictures of it. He pulled out his phone. It just didn't work. Look into theories of everything on YouTube, specifically episodes on dualism, non-material philosophies. Okay, I'll check it out. Cool. Dualism, non-material. The governor changed his statement on it. Is that correct, Bass? I thought initially he said that he didn't see anything. He's like, no, I don't know what you guys are talking about. And then he came around like the next day and was like, okay, everyone else has seen it. I thought but did he go back and now say he didn't? Would you try to interview Bob Lazar and push him harder so he'd release more detailed information about his experience at S4? I don't know. JC, I think he's been pushed hard, man. Jeez, that guy's been pushed hard. I mean, he gets like migraines. You know, if it's true, that means that people have been, you know, fucking with him for years. You know, so I don't see a positive thing coming out of that. You know, I push him harder. Chances are he's not going to come up with anything new. So I don't know. I don't see much coming out of it. The fighter pilot mentioned seeing objects on a daily basis. This seems insane to me, considering we're only hearing this from one person. Thoughts? I think it's insane as well. The only thing I can consider is that it's not. I guess they don't do anything. That's a weird thing. I guess Kevin Day said the same thing. He said when he was looking at these things, he was on the Princeton, and he saw these tracks. He said there was many tracks just floating and just cruising along, 28,000 feet, 100 knots. I mean, that is just so weird to me, right? To just see a line of these things like cruising along at that high, that slow, and then just dropping down, dropping up. I mean, it almost feels like quantum movements to me. And that, I don't know if that related back to the larger system, you know, the dark matter view, but it's almost like what we're seeing is kind of quantum effects, but in our dimension, which is very weird. But Let's see. Yeah. So why only one person? I heard there was another one. I heard someone, Ryan's friend, actually, he also mentioned something. I think it's easy to account for now, because if they are investigating it, they will do what they've always done in the past and say, do not talk to the press on this. Do not share any information. If someone calls you and asks you a question, then you just say, I can't make a comment on that. Talk to public affairs. And then pass us the information. Okay, so that's just what they say. So I think they could be, hopefully they're collecting the information. That was the point of that last report, was take it seriously, guys. Congress is taking it seriously. And so hopefully they report it up to somebody, which means we're probably not going to hear about it unless some of those guys retire or something like that. So I guess that's stupid. Let's see. Lazar is so divisive. Yeah, I tend to believe him personally. Some of his details were just too weird to make up, like the saucer turning belly forward to shoot itself at high speed. Yeah, interesting stuff. And he's obviously gone through that process. The classified. You read the reports, you get read into a program. So he's obviously done that before. Just based on the level of detail, how he talks through it, it felt. That's what you do when you go into a program or whatever. And the other detail, remember that detail, Jeremy, he brought it up, but about measuring the length of the hand, right? The ratio of the bones. That's such a cool thing as well. So yeah, there's those key points in there, and the way he flies out there, and the way that I don't know, it seemed legit to me. I agree with you, Matt, but I don't know. Yeah, but people say Bob Lazar is a fake, no real evidence. So yeah, I agree. I mean, if it is real, he has been totally messed with, and so I just feel bad for him. And if it's fake, then I feel bad for him. Okay, but yeah, this is it, right? I don't think Bob Lazar cares if people believe him. So he's kind of like climate change, right? It doesn't matter if we believe him if it comes out. If it comes out, man, I hope it does. Artisan Tony, Bob was the first to put himself out there like he did. He made the prediction about element 115, which is just recently discovered. You all pick who you believe. No one knows the truth. That's a good point, Tony. Yeah, like I said, yeah, either way, man, he's in a crappy position. If he put himself there, it's just even more tragic. I don't think that's the case, but let's see. From Mr. Bajor, Bob went out there with John Lear and his wife, not exactly hearsay. Okay, I think you guys are talking. Let's see what we got here. The anonymous witness confirms Bob's story about S4. Not sure how real the anonymous witness is. Yeah. The hand measurement thing was in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, a movie that he claimed to have watched innumerable times. Okay. But then what's interesting is it was true, right? Right, Barney? That was the thing. So, okay, so he didn't make it up is what you're saying. It was in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and so, but it did exist. That was interesting to me, is that thing existed, and I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that at any of the bases like I've been to. I kind of agree with this. 115 is just a weight, not genius to predict. Yeah, same thing with the gravity waves, right? Because gravity waves were identified previously, and there has been, so you could have had some idea about physics and then said that there would be these gravity waves. It seems, pretty convenient though, or coincidental, if it works, right? If this Pais thing, if they get the Pais effect, then if that actually works, then I'd be like, man, maybe we should go I would talk to Lazar in that case. Let's see. What sort of response have you gotten from your military peers? Can you share your best case, worst case interact? I haven't interacted with them, man. I live over in Portugal. I moved to live on a surf beach and retire and spend time with my family and just make YouTube videos kind of in my spare time. And it's just kind of, I just can't do that, I guess. I just need more intensity. I can't. And plus this came up and it's just so, yeah, it's just such an important case. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. A new element by incrementing the atomic number. Yeah, the gravity waves, that I think is a little stronger. Is UCR here? What's up, man? Hey, Luis, how's it going? Let's see what else we got. I'm getting kind of, my brain's frying. Try and keep as long as I can, dude, but I start saying stupid things. So Star Trek had communicators. If anyone in 1983 said they used a cell phone, then they're lying. So yeah, I don't get it. That's true, right? I mean, think about the tech we're using right now. You know, this would blow away people from 1800s. All right, I will check it. Interesting article, historic UAVs. Okay, cool. No UFOs in Portugal. There's no UFOs in Portugal. Emmanuel. I've heard a lot, man. Praia de Luz, kind of where I live. I've heard of some UFOs as well. I've talked to several. But I was at the dentist, very nice dentist, and the dentist assistant, she had seen one right off the coast of Portugal with 10 other people. Just the lights, crazy lights on the horizon. She saw that with someone on the beach. You just hear that so much, and yet we just discount it. Another guy in South Africa. Another friend of mine, hopefully I'll get him on the show. He just couldn't come last time. In South Africa, he saw crazy lights over a mountain, kind of similar to what Max saw, Max Moskowitz over Amsterdam. You guys have a video of that. So I don't know. I mean, you can say we can discount, videos are the only hard evidence, but then what about all these other personal accounts? And videos can be faked, right? But I think mass video, that is the way to go. It's not just a weight, it's combination chemistry makeup, which was recently verified and synthesized. I have a chemistry degree, so I could spend a little bit more time on 115. I didn't really think too much of it. I kind of avoided it a little bit because Bob Lazar is so controversial. But after this Pais patent, I don't know, I guess it depends. Let's see. Oh, here we go. How did Bob know it was going to happen? Okay, well, let's move on. I don't know. LISB UFO. Any nuclear power plants in Portugal? I don't think so. Emmanuel, do you know? Is there nuclear power plants in Portugal? Let's see. I really liked your video on dark matter. Thanks, Smitty. What do you think about the Space Force and SpaceX? Where do you see mission capabilities going? Yeah, great question. I'm happy they created the Space Force. I think it's a great. I think it was necessary, and I think of it like the Marines is under the Navy. It's a smaller force. It uses the logistics of the larger Navy. The Marines need the Navy to get around. They can't. They don't have the ships and all the systems, right? It's a small, lean force, really focused on what it does. And I think the Space Force is perfect for that. Just like the Marines are in the Navy, Space Force will just be its own unit or its own service attached to the Air Force. And in my last video, I talked about it. And that's probably the biggest thing is, missileers and space officers, they ride second seat, right, to the pilots and the fighter guys and whatever. But space is hugely important. We can't do any of our operations, at least effectively, without space and space ops. Plus all the missiles, right? All those missiles in the ground, all these nuclear missiles that we're talking about. That's all run by the Air Force. And I think it'd be better if they had their own mission central to their service. As far as SpaceX, I love SpaceX. I think that's the way to do it. I think they've shown a new paradigm where they go and they test. Right? Because if you look in the past, like NASA and everybody, they have to have 100% mission success, right? They have to have 99.99% mission success because they just spend so much time. It takes however many years to build a mission together, put it together, and then launch it. And so they put all of their eggs in one basket essentially, and that basket is, it doesn't always work, and sometimes it fails. And they get set back super far. Plus, I've mentioned it before when I talked about LVC, right? Live Virtual Constructive, is everybody wants the perfect solution. They all want the iPhone just to exist. But a lot of times you just can't do that because one of those things is not going to work. Something in your iPhone is not going to work. And then now the iPhone doesn't work. It doesn't get built. So what I really like about SpaceX is they just do an iterative process. They're outside, they're just like hammering stuff together, welding it, and then they launch it and it blows up and they're like, okay, we learned a lot, and then they do it again, weld it together, launch it, and then it blows up and they're like, we learned even more. So I love that. And I hope to bring that to my own, endeavors into UAPs. Just Googled it. No nuclear plant. Yeah, I didn't think so. Plenty in France. So they do have UFO activities over there. So I've been working with Martin from Denmark, UAPR, and France does have a Skyhub system that's working. I saw the stream. Maybe I'll try and link it maybe sometime. But they do have a working Skyhub system, from what I understand. So they're searching. And that is one technique, right, to set these systems up around nuclear sites. I liked over with ships as well. Has there ever been a fighter jet crash due to UAP or a pilot pass out trying to trail one? Not that I've heard of. It's not in the safety databases. At least that is my guess. But must have, right? Especially if these balls of light. So Ted Rowe in that AA conference, he mentions that 57 balls of light were related to aircraft systems going down of some kind. That's how I related that to the nuclear systems. Maybe they affect it. And then when the balls of light are gone, then the effects go away. So it's like temporary or transient field effects is what we're seeing. Instant observation that the ball light UAPs could be a quantum side effect of UFO technology, like sparks flying from a fire. I guess I think of it more like how they move. Even this Pais effect, right? So the Pais effect, really what it sounds like to me is what they're doing is they're kind of accessing quantum physics at our level, dimensional level. You know, if that's what, if it really works and you can impart this vibrational field and it accesses this quantum plasma energy state. Now you get to that 0 point energy. We're effectively turning that craft, again, all speculation if it works, but you're effectively turning that craft into, it's like a quantum, quantum point, or however they term it. I can't remember. So yeah, that's what I think, more of the quantum effects. And you also see that too, like when people get weird gamma radiation, like I heard that at Skinwalker Ranch. I just was watching a podcast with Travis Taylor, and I guess he got gamma radiation, right? So, why are you getting gamma radiation? It just seems like maybe that's due to some of these weird kind of quantum effects, etc. All right. Any volcanoes? I don't think so. Are volcanoes, do UFOs like volcanoes? I don't know about this. Let's see. I live there, White Sands Missile Range. Cool. Seen a UFO that forever changed the way I viewed the subject. I was an AT in the Navy, electrical engineer now. What I seen was technology we don't know. Cool. That's awesome. Thank you. Straight up kick ya in the nuts. Thank you. Straight up kick ya in the nuts. You want to be on the show? Come talk about it. That's cool. Yeah, crazy, right? Did we just not believe you? I mean, I believe you. All right, Kerbal Space Program. I downloaded that thing. I tried to get it working. Yeah, it was just tough. I just didn't get past I couldn't get it through the initial setups. I live 5 minutes from the nuke plant I work at. I look like a doofus, craning my neck to the sky every day, walking in. Get a mirror. I don't know. That's cool, man. So I'm guessing you haven't seen anything then, Matt. I'm guessing that's the response. Good vibes. Cool. Chris, you can't go from conventional aircraft to Tic Tacs without seeing some of the intermediate steps. What do you think these Tic Tacs are? And do you think they're terrestrial? Oh man, I have no, I mean, I'll just make a guess because no one else makes guesses. And I'm like, whatever. I would say for me, it would, the way they move, when they're talking about, it's that 28,000 feet at 100 knots. It just feels like they're doing something there, or, but then they flew down, right? It actually flew down to the water and did something and then went back up. So that would be where I think they're one of these control mechanisms. That's either here providing some sort of support or talking. I don't know. That would be that's my guess. Or an interstellar like insect. But why is it? Yeah, no idea. Has Joe Scott ever contacted me? No. I mean, I'm kind of his fan until he said, bad things about me. Not me in general, but okay. Fail fast, fail often, but always fail forward. Yes, Nigel. Nigel Benton, what's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you here. Definitely. And that is right. I mean, it's tough. The people that succeed are the ones that fail the most, right? So I think that's true. It sucks, man. Failing sucks. You just take it. Just take it in the face. Chris, hey Killick, what's up, man? Chris, is it normal for the military to have their multi-sensor systems to fail to provide reliable data 18 times in 17 months in a row? That possibility was stated in a UAP TF report. I mean, is it 18 out of like a million? Or is it 18 out of 18? That would be my question. So that's where I get, that's why I was kind of a stickler on the words in the UAP report is, a very large part of being a fighter pod actually is reading all these very in-depth rules, I would say. They're basically pages and pages of rules of what is a valid weapon. How can you release a valid weapon? And you have to have all these requirements. Okay, so it's very detailed. So it's kind of, I think we would be really, really good lawyers actually as fighter pilots, is because just reading through all these regulations, and you really want to find the right wording, okay, because then you can support your argument just like any lawyer. So that's why I was kind of worried about that. Is it when they just said air crew and pilots and air crew members? So I'd have to ask that in this question, is it 18 out of 18 times in 17 months? Or is it just, hey, there was 18 events out of 1,000 or 2,000 where they couldn't provide reliable data? So yeah, I don't know. UAP has the ability to deactivate nuclear launch facilities and the ability to start them up as well. A bit concerning. Hey, Bolt, thanks. I wrote in there, I don't know. Chances are they do, right? If they can go through walls and have warp speed and all this stuff that we are, guessing, I guess, or postulating, they should have the ability. I don't think they did though, which is interesting to me. I've seen that. I think, I don't know who said Bob Salas did, but he believes that they were sending a message or something. I didn't see him say that, so I don't want to put words in his mouth. But I've heard that before. Martin Willis said that, if this isn't sending a message that they're taking these nuclear missiles offline, then, I don't know what a message is. I don't know. I don't really agree with that, actually, because what I saw is the guidance systems were taken off, right? So that's your accelerometers, your gyroscopes. That really is related to all of your angle information, motion, gravity, etc. So I think that would have caused this to not cause any damage, right? It's really no damage. And then once they leave, it goes away. So it's not like they can't, the systems, the missiles are always on. Okay. They're always on. I mean, that INS, that thing's always there spinning and waiting, telling you exactly where it's up and down, etc. So the systems are always on. So all they did was they interfered with the signal that told the missile that its guidance system was aligned and ready, right? So if your guidance system is not ready, you can't launch the weapon. So I think that's what happened. It was like a transient messing up the signal, so there's a signal going into the missile and it just kind of messing with it. And so the computer's like, no, that's a bad signal. But then when the UAPs went away, now the signal went back to a solid straight signal. So I think it's more just an effect, transient effect. If they really want to send a signal not to use nuclear weapons, why didn't they just destroy them, or deactivate them, or just fry out all the electronics or something like that? So I guess that would be. Explain the Pais effect. Okay, let's see. Can I share my screen here? Let's go to the patent real quick and talk through it maybe. Share my screen. Oh, whoops. All right. So these are these 3 patents he's got, which Google Patents is awesome, right? If you go here, randomly, I have a patent. I'll show you guys just because you're here. Let's see if I have it. Inventor. I give $20, Tony, if you can guess what it is. No results. Maybe it's under. Oh man. Okay. It was a. I'll just tell you. It's a modulator. No, of LXR. No, it was a flossing toothbrush. That was the idea, man. It's gonna make billions of dollars. Basically, you have a toothbrush. It's floss. Looks like a toothbrush, and you can move the floss. Anyway, all right. So, sorry about that. Like I said, man, going crazy about an hour and a half. So probably be shutting down a little bit here. Okay, from what I understand, the Pais effect was basically the sum of these three kind of technologies working together. Okay, so you had this craft using an inertial mass reduction device. And so basically, this is talking about the actual technology of making two spinning electromagnetic fields. So if you look here, oh, sorry, you guys can't see it. Sorry about that. Okay, now I'm not looking like an idiot. Okay, here you go. Craft using an inertial mass reduction device. So really, and I'll go back, these are the three patents if you missed it, because I was just talking about something you couldn't see. Craft using an inertial mass reduction device. This is that piezoelectricity induced high temperature superconductor. And this is your high frequency gravitational wave generator. I'll get rid of this, you can see. Okay, so what we have here is this craft, okay? This is the first one. And the abstract explains it reasonably well. You know, I've read through all this stuff, so that would help you actually kind of maybe understand a little bit better. But that's where they mention in here, I believe, there it is, quantum vacuum plasma. Okay, so this is, if I can zoom in a little bit more for you guys. So this is kind of where it comes down. Moreover, the coupling of hyperfrequency gyrational and hyperfrequency vibrational electrodynamics. So that's what he's saying. I think what Bob Lazar was saying is they used 115, right? And they hit it with some sort of radiation we didn't understand in this reactor. And that's what created the gravity waves. But it sounds like we don't have that, or at least Pais's patent didn't have, a 115 gravity generator reactor, right? But it did have this other thing, which is your high frequency gravity wave generator. So what they use is axial rotation. And I think that's when they spin that outside electromagnetic wave or electromagnetic field. And then they use this kind of made up thing. This is what I think they're, instead of that 115 reactor, you have some sort of acoustic system. That's what he proposed, is basically an acoustic system. I think it can vibrate that inert gas that's in the wall. And so what you get is this hyper frequency vibrational electrodynamics. So that's conducive to a possible physical breakthrough in the utilization of the macroscopic quantum fluctuations vacuum plasma field. So that's what the quantum vacuum plasma is, the macroscopic quantum fluctuations vacuum plasma field. Okay, and that would be, it can be an energy source or a sink. So that energy source means you can pull energy from this, which would just be insane, right? And he talks about this here. The quantum, can you make sure you can see this? The quantum vacuum plasma, QVP, is the electric glue of our plasma universe. Okay, so basically saying that there is this other thing, quantum vacuum plasma, that is the electric glue of our universe, and we haven't discovered it yet, essentially. So very interesting. So I guess if that didn't make sense, I'll go right to this other one. There's a better map on it. I mentioned this in my video yesterday. I don't really understand this one fully. This is the superconductor. And so it's kind of opposite from a normal wire. A normal wire, you have the insulator on the outside and we have the metal on the inside. But here you have basically the metal is on the outside of an insulator core. And I actually I need to read through this one more because I don't understand it. I was just, okay. And Lazar didn't need that, right? Because they didn't have wires in Lazar's craft. So I'm curious, why is this superconductor here? It seems like it would have to be necessary for the system. And maybe it is. And then finally, this is your high frequency gravitational wave generator. So basically, we can kind of use this just one more minute, I guess, if I'm just rambling. But this is your craft, okay? And then the idea is you have two there's an outer resonant cavity, is what he calls it, an outer resonant cavity, and then there's an inner resonant cavity. And then in between this wall here, you have an inert gas, which is that it's a noble gas. And so somehow what happens is you use microwave emitters, so just a high power microwave emitter, and you charge this outer wall, and basically I think it can make kind of coat it in this field of high energy. And then if you can control microwaves, right? You can control microwaves like you do in your microwave, right? It controls it. You can actually, I believe, you would spin it. Okay, so you would actually physically spin this around the craft somehow using, +1, on, off, spin it. And I saw somewhere he said like 30,000 revolutions per minute or something. The two acoustic vibration. Okay, and then that creates a field. That creates an electromagnetic field. And what he says is, if you also then acoustically or some other way create an electromagnetic field on the inside, okay, on the inside of the wall, or maybe it's actually in this in the noble gas, and you can control that field, you spin that one the opposite direction. Okay, so what you're going to have is you're going to have propagating field, and then you're going to send a second propagating field through the first. And he says right here, the two acoustic vibration resonant gas filled cavities are able to counterspin relative to each other to provide stability, and propagating gravitational field fluctuations are generated. So gravitational field fluctuations, so gravity waves essentially, are generated when the second electromagnetic field propagates through the first electromagnetic field. So, and these are your kind of acoustic amplifiers, etc. I don't know, maybe it looks like this thing actually spins, but I was like, it can't spin because this thing's in the way. So yeah, it's hard to tell from their line drawings. But yeah, that's it. Questions? So the Pais effect would be that, okay? So that they actually show that they can make these two electromagnetic fields that are counter each other, and they can propagate gravitational field fluctuations. So I would say that I would define that in my limited non-professional physics understanding as it propagates gravitational field fluctuations. All right. UAPs are not engageable. I think you're right, man. They try to engage these things and they just run away. Although Ryan said they did obviously have some intercepts. Now I'm becoming death, right? I'm pretty sure there are classified patents. Yeah, I don't know, Matt, how the patents work. This might just be a way to get China to chase its tail and waste money. It could. I have no idea. Still crazy patents, right? And low money. $500,000 that's like nothing, I think. Anyone want to buy a bridge? Okay. It looks like a wind chime diagram. Yeah, actually. These are hard, man. You got to pay a lot of money for these fancy diagrams too. It's ridiculous. Patents can be classified, must be, right? But interesting. Yeah, I just didn't think about it. It could be seen as a smoke screen. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a smoke screen, but who knows? Sorry. All right, maybe do like one last one. Let's see. The Italians figured how to gauge. Is that true? I still haven't seen anything on that. Have we seen any reports coming from the pilots? I thought Lou said the Italian pilots were gonna bring it out. Cool. Hutchison effect. He has some videos of experiments and results are insane. He sent some samples to validate his results. Okay, cool. Hutchison effect. Pais effect. I would love to talk to that guy, man. It'd be so cool. Interesting. Looked like a dipole. Yeah, it did, right? What is your take on the USS Kidd incident? Surely Navy ships have sophisticated anti-UAV tech on board, but none of the reporting I've come across makes any mention if these were used. All right, I'm writing down USS Kidd event. Sorry, guys. I'll get there one day, right? We'll get there. I'm working hard, dude. Don't worry. As hard as I can. We do have UAV tech. We do have anti-UAV tech. You listen to that UAV that was in Tucson that was just flying above the helicopter. I mean, we just don't, UAVs can't do everything. They can't, you can't outperform a real helicopter with your average daily UAV. You know, you need a special thing. Is it possible to go too deep? Probably. Let's see. Cool, guys. Anything I missed? Anyone? The Eigen Bros channel is very interesting on Bobazar 2. They say you should have known the stable iStub 2 just by the way the elements are determined. Quantum FU. That toothbrush called Mad. Man, it's not in there now. You know, if I see a patent up there about this, you guys make billions of dollars. Kick me some few ones or something. You can do that overtime with mass equivalent light. Other than that, maybe Magic Beans Element 114. Awesome, guys. One more. Here we go. Let's see. From Now I've Become Death. Hey, what's up? Chris, are you familiar with the buoy Navy uses to detect anything deep underwater, but it moves itself around self-guided way at sea? No, I haven't. Yeah, like I said, the services are separated. I have been, actually, when I was in the aggressors, we traveled around looking at, we went to NASIC, ACIA. It was super cool. We went to the Naval Intelligence Center. It's this giant building. It was interesting because 80% of that building, it's a big building, 80% of the building is devoted to mines, just mine technology, which I guess are just super dangerous for everything that's in the ocean. But I was very surprised, you know, so a lot of it's undersea. I really don't have any idea on how, you know, undersea stuff. I could guess, but yeah, that is interesting. The Foo Fighters, Woo Fighters. There we go. And hey, I do want to make merch, guys. I'd love to make like Patreon has a great program where it wouldn't cost the Patreons anymore, and I can just provide merch out there. So I don't know, maybe it's like, if you guys think of any sayings or images or pictures or something, I'm going to come up with something soon, like coffee mugs. Any thoughts on Havana syndrome? I literally learned about it like 2 days ago. It's very interesting. Again, these human effects, you know, I don't know why that's there, or I don't really know much about it, but there's all these weird effects, man. Like in Balad, right? In Balad, I was there 05 to 06. It's the air base in Iraq. They just burn their trash. So because it's too dangerous to get rid of it, right? You create a ton of trash in a combat environment. There's like 40,000 people there or something at this base. So you have to get rid of the trash. And you can't just drive it away, or, you know, you get killed by somebody. So they would just burn it, and it was in these burn pits. And these are just these terrible things. You just see this black smoke rising. I'm sure people are going to have tons of issues from that later on. It could be something related to that. Weirdly, I don't know. I hope they take care of the people and they're all right. Unidentified aerial pimp t-shirts. All right, that's it. We're doing it. Awesome, guys. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it a lot. I hope you liked it. The time is difficult for me. Just cut right into Saturday afternoon, evening. So if a weekday would work better, that would be better. I don't mind doing it even like weekly. You know, if it's maybe on a weekday, that would be much easier to do. But excellent. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thanks for all your time, guys. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Thanks for watching. And yeah, everybody have a great Saturday. Have a great weekend. And for viewers in the future, I'll read these comments, continue to read them. So if you have any questions, go ahead and write comments in, and I'll try and get to them as best I can. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Take care. Peace. Click the button.